My name is Nick Roberts. I'm an instructor here at Blue Ridge Community College in the Business and Finance program. Background is 20 plus years in corporate America, working in finance with large commercial banks. So the importance of professional communication, right, in a work setting, very different than a personal setting, is just, how you sort of carry yourself, how you're thoughtful in your words, very important aspect in which we'll learn in this course. So whether it's communicating verbally or writing in a professional manner, it's extremely important to understand who the audience is. What point are you trying to convey? In business, one thing that we emphasize, particularly in writing, is it's succinct, to the point. Many businesses, and the speed of business is very rapid, and the fact is that people don't have time to read 3-4 page emails. So in today's business climate, again, being very succinct, bulleted, conveying the point is extremely important in a professional manner, and again, knowing who your audience is. So there's a number of different communication channels in the workplace. When we think about, using things like Slack or Microsoft Teams for messengers, obviously there's the traditional phone and email. Also texting has been widely accepted between clients and between employees. So trying to determine what's the best method probably is determined based on what that communication is and how critical that communication is. If it's something that's extremely sensitive, maybe that's an in-person discussion that you have. If you have an employee that is underperforming, you can bring them into the office and have a personal discussion as to what that looks like, and it may be better received. So when is it appropriate to use text messages? Text messages also depends on whether is that a business phone or is that a personal phone. So the thought process is, if it's business, it is property of the company and it can be used for business purposes. But you always want to be mindful if the person that you're sending the text, whether it be a supervisor, manager, or a peer, is accepting towards a text message for business communication. It wasn't too long ago that clients would never text message. Now it's very frequent that clients will text message on a business phone for any types of communication because it's easier and it's quicker. With email, you just want to make sure that you're to the point and that the reader is actually going to read everything that is written and pointing out what's critical. We do live in a high-paced business environment where many employees, many supervisors, managers do not fully read the email, so make sure that it's to the point and succinct. So oftentimes, the method that we choose to communicate is based on the sensitivity or the criticalness, urgency of the message itself. There are times in business where you have to send messages and communicate with clients that are dissatisfied. And how do you go about doing that? It really depends on the circumstance. But being empathetic, recognizing the fault of the company or your own mistakes is a good starting point when trying to send a message and rebuild trust with that customer or client. One thing that we have to remember in business is it's about relationships. Most business that's transacted, especially business to business, is about relationships, building trust, and people willing to do business with you. So while oftentimes we want to keep everything from a pure business perspective, there's a human aspect to all of this. And that's why we will send goodwill messages, whether it's an email, a text, or even in person for happy birthdays or congratulations or sympathy cards, things of that nature, because there is that connection and that relationship that oftentimes will supersede what solution or product you may be selling or delivering. So one tip for students in preparations to create their resume. Oftentimes when we first start creating resumes, we believe that we have to say everything. Right? We want to tell everything about us and our experience and our education, so we'll get invited in for the interview. That's the whole purpose of the resume, is to make it to the interview. One of the things that I see that's often done is things are too general within the resume. Be specific. Show how you impacted the organization. Oftentimes, if you can pull data. One example is, hey, I was on a team and we grew revenue by 15%. Right? Or I was on a team and we found efficiencies within the company and we saved the company $250,000 in 2025. Make sure that you have specifics so it shows your value add and your impact to that company. That will garner the attention of the recruiter or the hiring manager and hopefully get you an opportunity to interview virtually, on the phone, or in person.